Before I get started with this story, let me give a shout out to my patron Jason on Patreon for sending me this story. Again, if y'all didn't get the memo, if the top priority videos always will be able to jump the line. So if you are a Patreon of mine, if it's a triple P or an update video or an emergency style video, meaning someone has passed and it's like a breaking news story, those stories will always get top priority. So listen, when I tell you some people will spend their money on anything, I mean just that. And there was a time when I felt like I might have had bad spending habits, but I'm going to be honest. I'm nowhere near as bad as this person that I'm about to talk about in this video. So those of you who are looking at this right here, y'all clearly know what this is. This is a Pokemon card. Pokemon cards were very popular back in the 90s when the show was on WB or Kids WB at the time. I used to be a huge Pokemon head. Like, I had the cards. I went and played the game. I played the games. I played the games on the Game Boy. I watched the show, everything. Like, Pokemon was part of my life. Then Yu-Gi-Oh happened, and the same thing happened with that. I think it got a little, I think Yu-Gi-Oh kind of got, for me, a little extreme at one point. But here we are talking about Pokemon cards, and not just because we're talking about it, but because what this one person did with their COVID-19 business loan. So we all know that there was a lot of people that committed a lot of type of different frauds with the money that they received from COVID-19, PPP loans and all types of stuff. Not the stimulus check, but a loan. So this person, and their name is going to be mentioned in here. They got a weird sounding name, so I might butcher it. This person received thousands of dollars to, as far as a loan. I'm not sure exactly how much money they actually received, but they received a lot of money in a COVID-19 loan. And this person spent most of his business loan on a Pokemon card. Not cards, but card. As in one card. And this is how much he spent. $57,789 on one card. I said, are you kidding me? Really? This person must got money to burn if he spent all that money on a card. Not cards, but a card. And I'm curious as to what card he spent the money on. I'm very curious. This better be some next level top first edition that you can't get anywhere else in the world type of card. And even then, I wouldn't have even spent, I wouldn't spend $57 for a card. Bump that. This guy spent almost $60,000, and they said he spent most of his loan on one item, one card. So I'm curious. I'm almost curious now to how much did he get in a loan? Let's get into it. Justice Department news releases document a litany of luxury items allegedly bought with pandemic aid meant to keep struggling businesses afloat. One man was charged with spending his loan money on strip clubs. Another pled guilty to using his funds for a $318,000 Lamborghini. But Vinath Oudomsine, and like I said, I'm probably butchering his name, may be the only person accused of using his small business loan on a single Pokemon card. Prosecutors said the card cost the Georgia man $57,789, more than 2/3 of his federal aid, which officials say was based on false information. The wire fraud charge brought last week against Vinath is part of a federal crackdown on alleged misuse of massive release programs that threw lifelines to businesses during the pandemic, but also raised concerns about scams and waste. A federal watchdog said this month that the Small Business Administration overpaid $4.5 billion in grants to self-employed people and that no system of controls was in place to flag applications with flawed or illogical information. Even claims of up to 1 million employees. This year, the SBA Inspector General concluded that the federal agency rushed out billions of dollars in loans through the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, at the expense of controls that could have blocked inappropriate aid. The result, according to the SBA Inspector General, was limited assurance that loans went to only eligible recipients. Now, I'm going to pause right there. This is probably why the government probably doesn't want to give out these type of loans anymore, because you see so many stories, or hear many stories like the one I'm talking about here, of people misappropriating the funds or committing fraud in order to get those funds. And that's messed up. This person committed fraud just to spend 2/3 of it on one Pokemon card, money that he wasn't even entitled to. So he took money from somebody else to spend on a freaking card. Like I said, I'm really curious to what card it was. Not that it matters anyway, but whoever came up off of that, good for them. The SBA on Sunday faulted the administration of 45 and called Vinath case another example of the fraud that resulted from their lax controls. In a statement, the agency said that under the Biden administration, it has worked with Congress and the Inspector General to add anti-fraud measures while speeding up its processes. Defenders of the SBA's COVID-19 programs have also argued that flagged loans and grants represented a small fraction of hundreds of billions of dollars in aid. An attorney for Vinath declined to comment on the case Sunday, and the defendant has yet to enter a plea. Prosecutors accused Vinath of abusing the SBA's economic injury disaster loans for small businesses hurting during the pandemic, which upended the economy with shutdowns and stay-home orders. EIDL funds, officials noted, could go toward payroll, sick leave, and other business costs such as rent. The SBA said Sunday that its COVID-19 EIDL program has dispersed more than $310 billion to small businesses and has been critical to their pandemic recovery. On July 14, 2020, according to prosecutors, Vinath sought a loan for a business that he said had 10 employees and revenue of $235,000 over a year. The next month, court documents state that SBA deposited $85,000 into a bank account in Vinath's name. Listen to that. $85,000, and he spent almost $60,000, which means if he had spent exactly $60,000, he was only left with $25,000. He spent the bulk of his money that he did not have any rights to on a Pokemon card. This dude has to be one of the dumbest people in captivity. Court filings get few details about the alleged Pokemon card purchase, such as which pocket monster it carried, simply stating that Vinath bought it on or about January 8th of this year. Collector's item gaming cards can fetch big sums. This year, one unopened box of first edition Pokemon cards and sold for more than $400,000. Barry Paschal, a spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Georgia, said Sunday that prosecutors are not commenting on the case beyond the existing public record. Alarms about fraudsters taking advantage of business relief programs began early in the pandemic. The SBA Inspector General said in July 2020 that it was inundated with complaints about thousands of suspected abuses of EIDL loans and grants. In one widely covered case in spring 2020, a Georgia reality TV star was charged with using more than $1.5 million in aid for personal rather than business expenses, notably a Rolls Royce and $40,000 in child support. The first person to be charged with fraudulently seeking PPP loans was recently sentenced to 56 months in prison following a nationwide search after the man faked his death. The SBI... Wait. Wait, I didn't mean to laugh, but sheesh. The lengths the people are going with this is incredible. The SBA Inspector General's office said this month that the SBA was taking corrective actions after its report describing improper grants to self-employed people in 2020. Agency officials defended the EIDL, saying it delivered on the intent of the CARES Act, the $2 trillion emergency aid package that Congress passed last year. They note that it processed loans and grants totaling $20 billion over 14 weeks. James E. Rivera, an associate administrator for the agency's Office of Disaster Assistance, wrote to the Inspector General last month that the SBA does not agree with the key assertions in the draft report findings. Man, listen. This is... I feel for the people who could not get anything, who rightfully deserved it. And the people that committed all these frauds, they need to round them all up and put them somewhere, for real, for real. But I'm still trying to wrap my mind that this guy, bump the fact that he lied. That's what I'm not really concerned. I'm still stuck that he spent all this money on one card. after they only gave him $85,000. That's it. He made it seem like he got millions of dollars, and that this 57,000 whatever he wasn't going to miss that. I'm curious to see what this guy looks like just based on his name. Let me pause this right quick and see if I can find him. Okay, I paused the video to see if I could find a picture of him, but I couldn't find one. Even with his name put out there, I couldn't find a picture. It's probably for good reason, because he has to be so embarrassed. If I was related to this person, I'd be like, I don't know him. Like, don't come to me about the, listen, I'm sure there are other people out here in the world with that name. We ain't related to him. He's cut from another cloth. He's of another stock. We don't know him. I don't know him. That's how I would be if I was a family member of his. Honestly, like, that's crazy. This man spent almost $60,000 on one Pokemon card. And let's bump the fact that he committed this in a fraudulent way. Even if he didn't, I still would not do that. Even if I had the money. Like, talk about really throwing away funds on one card. And they asked the question that I was asking in the article. What card was it? But they didn't disclose what it was. This has to be an extremely rare card for him to do something like that. And even if it is, I still would not have done it. Like, that is not worth it. Man. He had money to burn. Unfortunately, it was not his money to burn. He basically stole that money just to spend it on something so frivolous. Yes, I called it frivolous because there is no way in hell I would have ever done something like that. At least if I was going to spend that kind of money, at least let it have some value over time. And see, the thing is, like they mentioned in the story, they said someone had got a collection of Pokemon cards and was able to sell it for like $400,000, and that's a lot of money. And they probably saw that and you say, you know what, maybe I can do the same thing. But I know that I can't just, do it. But he did it the opposite, because see, that person sold their collection. He bought it from this person. I guess maybe to resell it for more. I don't know. But this guy has to be one of the dumbest people on the planet. Like, seriously. Out of all the fraud loans that I've come across this year, this one right here has to be by far the dumbest. At least with them others, the people, they got cars, some got clothes, and whatever the case. That part about the child support, my goodness. And the one about the faking death, that made me chuckle. But the Pokemon card, and one card, here I am thinking he got like a whole bunch of them, like a collection of cards. No, he got one freaking card. Whoever he bought that card off of, they smiling right now. And this person looks like a sucker. And he is. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments.